Guys, it's Kat's birthday.
It's my birthday.
Well, it was her birthday 2 days ago for you, like 2 or 3 days from now for us. Most importantly, it's the Djopisode.
It's the Djopisode.
Woo!
Woo, woo.
Here we are. It's time to analyze the music and lyrics of the album beside of Joe. I hope you don't mind. Joe, if you're listening, sorry.
This episode is going to be long and amazing, and we are so excited to talk about Decide.
I fucking love this album.
Okay, so I'm Abby.
I'm Kat.
Usually we talk about Taylor Swift, but today we're not doing that.
Today we're mixing it up. We decided this is what we're gonna do for our birthdays. Is we're gonna pick like another artist that we love and pick an album or maybe songs, depending. We're gonna mix it up.
It's our birthdays, so we get to choose whatever. And I just want to say, we both want to say that we've had this planned for months.
We planned this in December. Right before, I want to say, we planned this. We figured this out when we went on a road trip to Albany to see the Jonas Brothers. The first week in December, we came back and we recorded the Dear John Would've, Could've, Should've episode. Mm-hmm. On that road trip, we came up with this idea.
Yep.
And then 2 weeks ago, End of Beginnings, blew up on TikTok, and now Joe is doing all this. We're not on the bandwagon.
Well, I mean, like, we love this album, don't get us wrong, but we've also been plugging Joe on this podcast.
We have. You can go back.
Third episode. I think we first bring it up in the Midnight's Mayhem episode.
Honestly, we might have brought it up in the first episode because I have a distinct memory of the day we saw Taylor Swift at the Eras Tour, May 27th, 2023, which is what our first episode is about, our surprise songs. We laid on the floor of our friend's apartment.
Oh, yeah.
And listened to Runner to cope with our emotions.
We mentioned Joe in episode 1. We have loved this album and loved this artist for so long. And now we're finally doing an episode about it. And it really does coinside with current events, I suppose.
And this just goes to show that we can't be normal about anything. It's not just Taylor Swift. It's everything we enjoy. Why enjoy something when instead you could analyze it and enjoy it more?
Yeah.
Because for me, analyzing this album, I already had a lot of ideas before I sat down to write my notes about why I love this album and the themes in it. But like actually writing them down, I was like, God damn, this album is so fucking good. It's so smart. And it's so... Oh.
It's so cohesive. There's like a through line. And
there is a very clear story structure that we will get into.
It is so good, you guys. So if you haven't listened to Decide by Joe, that's spelled DJO, go do that.
I like that you just kind of like low-key signed it.
I did sign it. I'm also, okay, so I'm wearing my I Love You in Sign Language shirt.
That is, you also have a tat of.
Which I also have a tattoo of. Shut up. and I'm also wearing my Joe hat.
Shut up in my birthday episode.
That's true. Kat's always right today. So I'm wearing my Joe hat that I got for Christmas. My brother gave it to me. Shout out to my brother, James, spelled DJAMES.
We did order shirts, if you will. That's spelled TJIRT. It's not funny. I'm gonna keep doing it. It's so funny to me. Yeah. I think it's hilarious, actually. But we ordered them, but they're not coming until like next month.
Yeah,
they're charity shirts.
But we said we have to record this episode now, so we're doing it.
It's happening. Imagine that we're wearing shirts with anthropomorphized bean sculpture that says "I feel it." Yeah.
Oh, also the text thread that we had the other day, where you were just like, I think this is Joe in his final form, or like the superior man. What did you say?
I think the bean is like what he's trying to be, because here's the thing about Joe Keery. Also Joe is Joe Keery.
Yeah, Joe Keery.
It's a pseudonym. It's not a band. It's just him, but under a name. But he just looks like a freaky little guy in all the promo for Joe. Like he does not want to look like. Not that he's not attractive in the Joe promo, but like he's clearly not trying to like dress in a way that's conventionally attractive. And I think the bean anthropomorphized is what his ideal form is.
I think he would agree. Now, Joe, I don't know if you're listening.
Joe, if you hear this, I'm so sorry. And let's go.
This is the closest we'll ever come to a chance at having him listen to our podcast. So. And also, what was the other thing? Oh, I'll literally interpret your concerts for free. So go on, Jor.
And I'll do the marketing stuff.
Yes.
No, we know you hate social media because we've listened to this album. All social media for you, so you don't have to.
Amazing. And we make a great team.
Joshal media.
And with that, let's get into it because we've got so many notes and we want to make sure that we respect people's time. So this is
most of all our own.
Oh yeah, well,
this is Decide, the second studio album by Joe, an alias for Joe Keery.
I would like to point out that my Word document for this is under Jotes.
Mine just says Djopisode.
Oh, perfect.
This album was released on September 16th, 2022. And it is a synth pop album, which, to tie it back to Taylor Swift, is what Tortured Poets Department is currently listed as. People think it's a red herring, but if it isn't, and like this is the sound that Tortured Poets has, I'll die. In a good way. I'll die.
I'll die. Oh God.
And this didn't chart super well, but after End of Beginning blew up, that song hit some charts, including it hit number 21 on the Billboard Hot 100 and number 3 on the Billboard US Hot Rock and Alternative Songs. Also went to number 1 on the UK OCC Indie chart and Indonesia's chart, and it was number 2 on Ireland's Irma chart and 3 on Australia's ARIA chart.
It's a lot of charts.
It's a lot of charts.
I see him always posting, like he always puts on his story, the different playlists and things that he's on,
he's everywhere, and I'm so excited about it because
so
in End of Beginning, I'm going to sound like, it's been my favorite song. It's been my favorite song, and now it's really popular, and I sound like a fake fan.
No, but you said it in our 3rd episode.
Okay, that's good.
So it's documented, you guys.
And I just remember listening to it. I have a cousin who lives in Chicago, and I remember when I got really into this album, I sent her the song and was like, hey, don't know how you're doing. This song talks about Chicago, so you should listen to it.
Listen, I have a thing where I can't listen to this album like a normal person. I can only listen to it with Kat, and that's a really special thing that we have. But also, I listened to this album so much last year that it was top 4 of my top 5 songs was this album. Runner was my number 1, and I would just listen to the songs on repeat while I did my grad school papers. This
album is really, really good. That's like what I wrote down for my personal connections, is that this song...
Sorry. Diet Coke, I had to open it.
Yeah, get a little DC in there. Not sponsored. Can you imagine? Anyways, this album, I love listening to this while I write or like try to get like in the flow zone because it's so cohesive sounding. Every song is distinct, but it flows so nicely from one to the next that like it isn't like some albums where the songs are cohesive but like they don't flow as nicely and you still like hear the in between. Like this, if you're in the zone, it just flows. It's so good.
It's really so amazing. Every single song goes together. I found so many, as I was looking through the lyrics, I found so many different callbacks and call forwards to different things, and it's so good. It's so good.
Joe, go on tour.
Please go on tour. Again, I will do sign language interpreting services for you. I already know all your lyrics. Just saying. Just saying. Oh, here's a little disclaimer. The same thing when we do Taylor songs. Like when we interpret these songs, we're not saying that this is the truth or like what they're actually experiencing, what the songs are actually written about. It's just like, at least from my perspective, how I interpret it, what it means to me.
And I think another thing that I was thinking about earlier in the same vein is that we're not going to speculate on Joe Keery's personal life.
No.
Unless it's something that he has commented on. Like, I mean, he says like the name Caroline, I looked it up, like that's his older sister. Mm-hmm. Like that is pretty much as we'll connect it to his personal life. We're just going to make it about ourselves.
Make it about ourselves and talk about this sound production. I'm so excited to talk about the production. I know nothing about music production, but I know that this is good.
Fair enough.
So I wrote a lot about it.
I've seen a lot of stuff about how this album is just about him like grappling with fame, whatever. And I think that's just such a reductive view of how amazing this album is. Cause it's more just like, it's kind of the second coming of age that we all experience in our mid-20s and nobody really talks about.
Yeah.
This is an album for anyone who went to grad school to avoid being an adult.
Oh.
Both of us.
The nervous laughter. I'm currently in grad school. Cat got out.
And then I had to be an adult. It's awful.
Yeah. Not looking forward to it.
And then some of the main themes that I noted, because I started doing notes on the songs and I was doing way too much and I had to be like, okay, we're just doing the through lines that are throughout the entire album. And it's just about how change looks in life, our perceptions of self and other people through the lens of social media, the duality of life and the dichotomies that we've gotten used to, and the lack of control we have over our lives and our ultimate fate.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself.
That's what this album's about.
Yeah. Runner. This is my top Spotify song of 2023.
This was one of my top. It was in my top 100, I think, for sure.
I listened to it on repeat one day. A couple days, actually.
The first time you introduced it to me, I think we just listened to it on repeat for a while.
It's just so good.
It's a repeatable song.
It is. It really just does. This whole album is repeatable. We listened to the whole album just on repeat on our road trip. Like, this is, anyway.
Well, we do it again when we're going away this weekend, probably.
Because we have the girls trip this weekend. I'm very excited. It's going to be last weekend for those listening, including you, Joe Carey.
Anytime that you listen, it was just last weekend. Time's not real. I like that the first line of the song has the album title in it.
Love and Hate Decide. I think, so the lyrics that repeat a lot in this song, love and hate decide, money grows and dies, people never change, but I have to try. That's pretty much like a lot of the thesis of what you just talked about.
Yeah, it's kind of, this song is like at the beginning of a musical when they explain what's going to happen, or like at the beginning of a Shakespeare, like a prologue. I'm thinking of like Romeo and Juliet, how the prologue comes out and it's just like, here is the entire plot of the play. Enjoy. Like, that's what this song is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that love and hate decide, like immediately setting up the way that like there will be the contrast and the dichotomy throughout the whole album.
And it's interesting that the song is called Runner and not Decide. And I think it's because, well, I hate running.
I love running.
I think it's because running is all about, there's like this motivation behind the song to just like keep going and keep chugging along sort of situation. But also the beeping and the production is kind of like Pac-Man coded. And I don't know, it just reminds me of like constantly chasing after things and being chased by things and that sort of situation. I don't know if that's anything, but there you go.
I like it. Here he's setting up like the idea that not only is like, he talks a lot in the first half of the album about how change is bad, but it's also like people never change. Like,
he's saying it's impossible.
It's impossible. It doesn't happen. Like, change is an illusion, but he's still saying like, I'm going to try to change anyways.
Yeah. One thing that's really interesting about this song is that he says people never change, but I have to try. Like, there's already this decision. Like, he did kind of decide that he has to at least put in an effort to do this impossible task. And then he goes into like never gonna win. Like, he's trying to do everything he's supposed to do. He's turning the other cheek, taking it on the chin, and he's still just gonna be the loser every single time, the fool every single time. But like, he's still trying.
Yeah.
Fun fact about that part, I want to swim in the sound waves. I want to literally swim.
Okay, so you know how in some pools you can have like the underwater speakers?
Yes.
That's what I want.
Okay,
we should get an underwater speaker and then we should bring it to my pool.
This song.
We should swim to this song.
I want to swim in this song. Jim. The overarching thing for this is that he does start at like, I have to try, and the last line is why try, but that's sort of jumping ahead a little bit. In terms of production, like,
so good.
It's so cool how it starts with just like the simplest of beeping. My friend Libs calls it the beep song. And
of course she does.
It's a beep song. It just starts with a simple beeping and these words that cycle over and over again, and it just keeps adding layers to it and then adding this like beat that just
it just, the cohesion in the production of this entire album is just fucking superb.
Yeah.
Like, it is so well blended and well balanced. Like, it is so masterfully done. I forgot to write down who produced it, but like, Chef's Kiss killed it. Like, Joe's first album is good, but I think that what it's missing is the mastery of production that this album has.
This is one of the best in terms of mastering that I think I've ever heard.
It's
another league.
Like, no one part of any song outweighs or is outbalanced.
Yeah. And then there's that tempo change in the middle. There's like it just like shifts. There's this shift where it's the same song, but it's like a different angle of the same song.
Yes. You're lying to yourself about control. So control and like our lack of control is one of the things throughout the album. So I feel like at the start of this album is like the start of a journey of like self-discovery and adulthood, etc. But like this idea of like you're lying to yourself about control. So he's saying like this very fatalistic view of like, we don't have any control. You're lying to yourself if you think that you have any control over your life or over your fate. And that like these ideas that he's talking about, the love, hate, money growing and dying, like that's what controls us and not ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And he's setting up like his perspective at the start of the album journey.
Yeah.
Which I think changes by the end.
Oh, he goes through this, he flip-flops throughout the album. It's like a very insecure album. It's not insecure, it's like learning things and then having to relearn them and unlearn them and learn them again. It's so interesting to listen to.
Like the first half of the album, it's like he's just like, I will never change, nothing ever changes, I have no control. And then there's like a big turn at like end of beginning where he starts changing, and then a few songs later he realizes that he changes, and then he kind of has like a breakdown about it, and then he moves on.
Yeah, it's
so good.
I got chills just you explaining that. Oh my goodness.
It's so good. I go, why try? Well, I guess the rest of the album will tell us.
Okay, so this transitions into Gloom. Can we transition into Gloom?
Gloom.
Okay.
Oh, well,
one thing that yes. Okay, so like
you pointed this out to me, and I have never been able to unhear it. So you say it again.
Okay. So basically, Runner ends with him screaming, "Why try?" And then Gloom begins, and there's like a really distorted voice in the distance going, "Why try?" Like if you listen, you can hear it,
and it's so good.
It's not so in the lyrics.
Smart. It's so smart.
Yeah,
it's such like the production on this.
It's so good. And like when you listen to Gloom just on its own, you might not pick up on that. But when I listened from Runner into Gloom, you can hear it. So check that out. I don't know if it was intentional. I think it was intentional.
It had to be intentional.
Yeah.
This is my first note. Now, I have never done cocaine. However...
Oh my god, okay, I'm glad we're bringing this up.
This is the cocaine anxiety spiral party song.
This is
I
drugs.
genuinely have never done cocaine. I've done weed. That's pretty much it.
I've done weed. We're so into it. So here's why I put that disclaimer at the beginning, because I don't want to put any specific experience on what, like, I don't want to say that is
but
what
I've
this song
seen people
is
do cocaine.
When I listen to this song, this
people...
sounds like cocaine to me.
High on cocaine.
It sounds like when you're out with your friends and you're just like
your speed.
I don't know what's going on.
I'm singing Grateful Dead song.
Oh,
Grateful Dead. Sorry, I.
It's all good. It's okay. We're getting back in it. It's just encapsulates being out with your friends and just getting progressively more uncomfortable as you get more messed up.
You get so overstimulated.
Yes. Which I feel that way off drugs.
But also, I think another thing about this song is like this song really contrasts to Change. Or no, not Change. I Want Your Video. It's like
yes, I wrote that same note.
This and when we get to I Want Your Video, we'll talk more about it. But
they're
like
sister
Gloom
songs.
is like I'm having a bad time at this party. Why did you take me here? You knew I wouldn't have a good time. Like, I have told you that I don't like this kind of party atmosphere. You know I'm not going to have fun. So, like, why are we here?
Yeah.
And, like, I told you our friendship couldn't handle much more. And then you went behind my back to settle the score.
So goodbye. Farewell.
Go fuck your mother.
Go fuck yourself. Which, that
boundary setting king.
That is one of the most, like... satisfying lines to sing in the car. I can't explain it.
Especially because you have to go fuck your mother. And then you have to do a full stop. Go fuck yourself.
It's amazing.
It's so good. It sounds just like that. I did a perfect rendition.
It sounds just like that.
I also think like tying this back to the kind of second coming of age idea, like the idea when you're out of college and you no longer have the structure of like you go out on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And like you have other responsibilities and other things that you want to do, but you're still friends with people from college. It can be like weird when they want to do stuff and you're just like, we are not the same anymore, dude. Like, yeah. It can be like, that's kind of what this reminded me of.
There's something, this feels like a spiral. When you're listening to it, you're just like, this person's not having a good time in a place where like everyone's having a good time and they're trying to act like it's fine. Or at least
everyone is pretending that they're having a good time.
Yeah.
I wrote in my notes that this is like the moment where it seems like you're going 0 to 100, but it's because internally you've been at 99 for a while and just like one thing set you off and then you're at 100 and everybody was like, whoa, man, you were fine a minute ago. And he's like, I was not fine, but I was just better at pretending.
Yeah. A couple of lines that I adore. When he goes, I left my wallet in the bathroom at the bar, and then, or no.
I know my hair looked good in the bathroom at the bar. Turns out I left my wallet at the bathroom bar.
That is so much fun. That is so much fun to sing.
It's so fun and it's so
also
real.
And it's also nonsensical. Like when you say at the bathroom bar, what is that? That's not a thing. But I love it because you get it. It's like when you mess up your words.
It's because like a bar is where you go to get drinks, obviously. Bathroom bar, it's where you go to do cocaine.
Oh,
wait, did I just solve it?
Kat solved it. It's cocaine.
Again, don't do cocaine. Only do legal drugs.
But listen to this song though.
Listen to the song though.
Also, I need to walk my dog. I'm ready to go. My dog's expecting me. I'm ready to go.
The whole end, I had a thing written out and I deleted it because I was like, I need to not have so many fucking notes. But like that whole part of like the I'm ready to go, the way that he makes it so that not every I'm ready to go is I'm ready to leave the party. Some of them are like I'm ready to leave to go out, like wash off my hair dye and I'm ready to go, like I'm ready to go out. And then it's like I measure up to you, I'm ready to go.
So he's
That's
ready
like,
to fight.
Exactly. And then it's like undress you with my eyes, I'm ready to go. Like he's ready to go.
The duality of go.
Exactly. Which I just love because he also, it's just like he has so much fun playing with words on this album too.
Yeah. But using your dog as an excuse to get out of things. I don't even have a dog, but I use Kat's dog.
You can always use my dog.
Spear.
You can always, I honestly do use Spear as an excuse to leave places, but usually it's because I actually do want to see the dog.
I mean,
Spear, she's not really an excuse. It's usually true. I'm usually like, yeah, I've been here for 3 hours. The dog's in the crate. Like, I gotta go.
She does need attention, so.
She loves attention. She's just a baby. What am I supposed to do? Hang out with you when instead I could be hanging out with my dog?
I mean, sounds fake. This whole second half of the song, this whole ending is just him progressively getting more overstimulated and more like, I need to get out of here. I need to just keep doing things. I'm just like so fidgety and like overstimulated and let me get out. And then I hate this city. Like I hate this music. I hate everything. And then he's like, I belong on the road. Which is just like a very poignant lyric to end this on.
Yeah. And the idea of being like, I don't belong in any one place and like the lack of like feeling of belonging and feeling of like, security. It's so good.
It's really good. And then he goes, so goodbye. So he gets out. And then it's Half-Life time. Okay. This song is an unsung hero.
This song is so I have a couple of like theories about the Half-Life thing. So my one theory is that it's about like the half of your life that you show in public and on social media and stuff. And like how that public persona is missing like half of who you actually are. And people kind of invent stuff to go in the gaps. Mm-hmm. And the other thing is that when you're living just to like put yourself online and put yourself on social media, you feel like you're living a half-life because even if you're it's different from only showing half of your life versus showing a fake life or like an overly exaggerated version of your life. It's still like a half-life because a lot of times when you see like people having these perfect lives online, it's not that glamorous behind the scenes. So it's like you're living what feels like a half-life because you're not living to your fullest.
There's also from, just like the therapist coming in, there's also the half-life of drugs where like when you reached your half-life, you're at the half amount of your effectiveness. And then after that same amount of time passes, each time you're just less and less. I
fight the urge to search my name. If I was famous enough to Google, dude, I would do it way too much. It'd be really bad for me, and I would do it. I would absolutely want to know everything people said about me, and I would go crazy. Because, like, knowing that people don't know you and wanting to know what their perception is anyways is, like, it's so real. That's not just celebrities. Anybody would be like that. Right. Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot about the effect of fame on mental health, not just fame, but also like the music business, acting business, all of those things, and how your identity becomes what other people think about you and how you present yourself online and on social media. And then people have these whole ideas of you that aren't what you actually are. And can you live up? Like, you can't live up to everyone's ideal version of you. Like, it's just so fascinating to me. It's something I think about a lot from a counseling standpoint, from a mental health standpoint. And this album does explore that. This song explores that a little bit. A couple other songs do as well. And it's a banger.
There's a better me, I swear. Like
looking yourself up and seeing what people think of you and then being like, is this really the best that I can do?
Yeah. And then he says, like, I let my ego get the best of me. Like, he thought better things were going to be said. And maybe he looks himself up and realizes that, like, people are going to talk shit always.
And then he realizes, in the age of excess, less may be best for me. Like, realizing that it's so easy to get caught up in online appearances and influencers, and like keeping up with the Joneses is worse than it ever has been, I think.
Jones is spelled DJONSES.
Oh, yeah. Yes. But in the age of everyone trying to like sell you stuff and sell you a lifestyle and this and that, it's so easy to just be like, oh, if I buy this thing, if I do this thing, if I go on this trip, like my life will be good. It's like, that's not true. And like realizing that when there's so much all the time, maybe less is better for me. Like it's so real.
Which is also the conclusion that I've come to. Like, I don't use social media nearly as much as I used to. I don't use TikTok anymore, other than to like, sometimes I respond to comments on there, on our account. But it's just been better for me to stay offline, and I don't even have to think about if people are saying things about me.
Fair enough.
I guess unless they say things about our podcast. Say nice things about our podcast.
And speaking of which, for my birthday, I would like you to give us 5 stars.
Oh, please do that.
Whatever you're listening on. And if you're on Apple, you can give a little note. If you give a little note, we do a little dance. We're not going to show you, but just know it's happening. So back to Joe. Distancing ourselves from an external point of view in social media.
That's Half-Life.
Me, I would obviously we would look ourselves up online if we were famous. We're like,
no, like we look at our stuff all the time,
so often,
constantly. I'm just like, has anyone said anything about me? I would like to know. Anyway,
the world is changing and upgrading faster than we can control.
But also, sorry, the line right before that, it makes me sad. We're the last to know. This is so ominous. It really sets the scene for how the world feels right now.
Yeah.
I have a lot of issues with technology and how far it has gone.
AI is fucked.
Yeah. I still have an iPhone 8, you guys.
Jade.
Get out.
Okay. This is my house. But then, the world is changing and upgrading. Oh, wait, no.
Yeah.
Faster than we can control. Again, with control and acknowledging how much we lack it in the world changing. But also like change and upgrade are separated as ideas. So it's like change is bad, upgrade is good. So it's just not super obviously saying change is bad, but it's kind of saying change is bad.
Yeah.
Especially later when he says, I thought that change was bad.
Yeah. This
is him subtly saying change is bad before he's just like, yeah.
I thought
I thought change was bad.
These concepts are also in the song On and On, which is
that's
coming,
literally my next note.
Yep.
Watch the video, don't fret about it. On and On.
Yeah, there's this whole part where he goes like, sick of living in the old days. And there's like this cool little like interlude that happens.
Yeah, I love it.
And it's in a different voice. It's like a little bit of a distorted voice. I talk throughout this whole process about how he uses distortion to represent like different parts of himself and like the different sort of perspectives that he has. And this is one of those times where it almost sounds like an advertisement that's like calling to him.
Yeah.
It's like very welcome to the
watch
internet.
Watch a video, don't fret about it. Like that whole thing of like, oh, you think the world is bad and it's changing? Like just go on social media and just doom scroll for a while and it'll be fine.
Yeah. And it reminds me of Welcome to the Internet by Bo Burnham.
It's so Welcome to the Internet coded. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Joe cover Welcome to the Internet when?
Joe Burnham.
That's it. That's the best one.
Yeah. He talks a lot about like, I let these people dig their hooks in me. And
I consider myself
a fool. Which leads into the next song called Fool. We're not there yet, but just letting you know. Foreshadowing.
But I get to talk about the fool archetype in Shakespeare versus modern media, which I love. In Shakespeare, the fool was the only character in tragedies a lot of times who was able to speak the truth to like the higher class, like kings and queens and stuff, because they would say it as a bit and then they wouldn't get like in trouble for being, you know, speaking ill of whatever. So they would kind of say stuff in a joking way, but they would be saying the actual truth of like situations. Versus like modern media, it's just kind of like fools like make a lot of mistakes. They're kind of idiots and like bumbling around.
Yeah.
It's just interesting.
It is interesting. Just this song, how he then talks about like he lets these people dig their hooks in him, and then he thought they really cared for him. He thought they'd be there for him, which is this next part, which is really heartbreaking. I literally just wrote a frowny face.
I wrote,
uh-oh,
the disconnect of online connection between a public figure and the people who love them, but then also on a smaller scale, when you aren't building real relationships with people because you're keeping things on a half-deep surface level basis. And so they can't really be there for you and care for you in a genuine way because they don't know you, because you're not letting them know you.
Yeah, and that's another thing that fascinates me about what I was talking about before, mental health and fame and all that. Like parasocial relationships. Is that what you're getting into?
My literal note for I know you, I love you, I want you, I need you, you complete me, I adore you. I wrote the drone of a parasocial relationship.
Yeah, so this whole outro is what he's hearing from people that don't even know him, that like can't possibly be there for him. Like, I love you, I want you, I adore you. And it's also distorted. So once again, he uses that distortion to show that. Parasocial relationships are a really wild thing because they provide comfort to so many people who really feel like they know this figure. When they don't really, they're just kind of putting what they need onto this face.
Yeah, it's like the idea of the half-life of like you show half of yourself and people fill in the gaps with what they want the other half to be.
Yeah.
And like this is what people have filled in the blanks for him.
And it's wild because like brain-wise, chemistry-wise, it's the same chemicals in the brain that you feel for a parasocial, like when you have a parasocial relationship, that you would for a non-parasocial relationship.
Damn. It's
the same ones. It's really powerful. It's like, it's a huge thing that happens. I've experienced it. I mean, like, I feel like everyone's experienced that to an extent.
Swift floor, of course we have.
Like, you know, that's how it be. I would be remiss if I did not mention this instrumental when there's a breakdown. Specifically one part that blows my mind. I have to listen to this at least 3 times every time I listen to this song, because there's like an instrumental and then everything stops and like slows down again. And when the drums kick in, the drums like conflict with the rhythms. Like there's so much happening and I can't even explain it. You're going to have to go listen to it. But as someone who is a musician, when I'm trying to like conceptualize how these rhythms fit together, I literally can't make it work, but they do.
Yeah. It's
incredible.
He just had so much fun with the album, and you can tell that not only did he have fun with it, but he like really mastered it. Like he did that.
I've always said that like all I want to do is have a conversation with him about his songwriting process, or whoever produced and mastered this album. I'd love to talk to them too.
Well, I think he did, and like he wrote all the songs, so it's like he's in it.
Yeah, I just want to talk. Just want to chat.
I just want to talk. So now is it time for
Fool.
Look into my eyes and baby whisper, fool. So good.
This one actually was viral on TikTok a while ago. Not like viral, but this one was one that people played a lot. That specifically the look into my eyes and baby whisper, fool.
So good.
Yeah.
It's such the first line, that's not right. There's a person behind those eyes.
Oh.
I'm just like, I think of this line every single time I open up a comment section where people are just being like horrific. I'm like, you know, you're talking about like a people, right? You're talking about a person who exists and like has complex thoughts and emotions. Like, what?
Oh, interesting. I always interpreted it differently.
Oh.
So we meet a character soon. We kind of meet them in this song, but this you that he talks about a lot, this person that comes into his life that changes things. And when he sees this person going, that's not right. There's a person behind those eyes. Like, you're not fake. You're not this online presence. You're not like shallow.
Interesting.
Yeah. That's how I've always interpreted it.
Everybody needs a fool. I'll be your fool. I'll perform for you. Just tell me what to do. I chose it for me anyway. I have thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody needs a fool. Everybody needs like the scapegoat, comic relief, truth teller that presents, you know, whatever in a way that makes you laugh instead of cry. but then also I'll be your fool, I'll perform for you, like giving up your identity to be what other people want. I chose it for me anyway. And like the self-hatred that comes along with becoming a people pleaser and becoming what you think other people want you to be, and knowing that you're not being genuine, and like hating that you're doing it, but like not knowing how to break that cycle.
Yeah. There's so much in those few lines. This song is kind of funky, you know, like listening to it. I've played it for a few people who have gone, okay, what's this? Like, I don't get it. And honestly, that's valid.
He's just a silly little guy.
This one's pretty out there when you're listening to it. But when you actually look at the lyrics and study them, it is so rich with content.
It's so good. I only have one other note for this song.
Oh, because, so the funny man. Do you talk about the funny man?
I don't talk about the funny man.
He goes, what's that sound? There's a funny man at my house. I think he knocks on the door. Yeah.
Yeah, wait. What's that sound? There's a funny man at my door. No, I'm not busy. This is what I was prepping for.
Yeah, which, who is the funny man? I interpret it as like he's the funny man. There's this dissociation happening, this split happening.
There's definitely, and there's a later
climax.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The dissociation.
Yeah.
And also in Jake is on his phone.
Yeah. Oh my God, there's so much dissociation in this album.
This is like before he realizes it's dissociation.
Yeah. And also calling himself the funny man. It's another word for fool, right? And like that's what he's there for, the comedic relief.
Yes.
And is all an act.
And that's my other note is in the chorus part that I chose it for me anyway changes to you never stop looking at me anyway. And the idea that he chose it for himself, but it was out of like a self-defense and not because it's actually what he wanted to do. Like, if you're going to look at me, then I'm going to perform.
Right. And like this whole song, as I mentioned, sounds kind of silly. Like it's kind of weird. Again, he's trying to make you laugh with it. He's trying to like make things interesting, make things funny.
And it's like sad because it's like, well, you never stop looking at me anyway. Like I don't get any peace. I might as well make it a bit.
Right. Which relatable. God, this album's relatable. And the last note that I have, the last line of the song is, you never stop looking at me anyway, behind those eyes. Could be a reference to Change when he says, in your eyes, the man that I could be.
Yeah.
It could be, or it could be something else. But again, with just like, there's lots of parallels in each of these songs as you kind of weave your way through them. Here we go. On and on and on and on.
That's our version of production. It's just a trill with anything we want to say over it. This is the social media doom scrolling song.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's exactly what I wrote.
Locked away, free to go. Like the way that algorithms are so addicting, and they like and there's always just like a disconnect when you're on social media between like actual life and the projection of actual life that you're watching. And so you're like locked into it, but you're free. Like anytime you can close the app, you can walk away, but like
you can't.
It's designed to be addictive.
Yeah. And he talks about seeing things on the news and how there are horrible things on the news and being like, it must be fake. Like it must be fake. And to an extent it is. Like everything you see, you can't really trust it. But also there are horrible things happening. And also you can just go on TikTok and look at funny videos if you want to. Like,
and also the idea that anything that's online and on social media, anything, it has been filmed and edited and put up. So like what is real, what is fake? It must be fake because there's no such thing as an unfiltered social media presence. It is filtered. Anybody who says like, oh, I'm so unfiltered, I'm so real, like, but you aren't, because you're conscious of the fact that you're going to be posting this online and sharing it. Like you're just not, you can't ever be 100% genuine online.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure some people are, but for the most part,
hard to do.
Also like the chorus, the scrolling on and on and on, feed the algorithm some. Social media algorithms like learn the more that you scroll and based on what you like and what you watch and all that stuff. So the longer that you spend on like an app like TikTok, the more time that you're going to want to spend there, because the algorithm learns what you like, it learns what you watch, it learns who you are, and it serves you up content that it thinks you'll like. And then you're just like hooked in.
Which in a way is kind of what we do. We try to offer people what we know they'll like. It's that performative aspect again.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting, because then it's like social media, as much as you hate it, it's almost like you want to understand people as much as the algorithm does.
Yeah. It's like a mirror.
I have to talk about the production on the bridge.
Oh, okay. Well, do it.
So, Blame It on Manipulation. It's human after all.
Yeah.
That whole, like, if you listen to that bridge, it just very slightly crescendos throughout. And then by the end, it's really loud and really angry.
Yep.
But you don't notice it getting louder until you're like, oh shit, it's louder. And it's like a form of manipulation because you're hooked in and then it's like slowly getting louder and slowly building. But it's so gradually and masterfully done that like you don't realize. I remember I had partaken in some weed and I was listening to this with like AirPods on. And I was just like, oh, is it getting louder?
Yeah. It makes me think about that. I don't think it's real, but a frog standing in a pot of water that's progressively getting hotter and hotter until it boils, but the frog doesn't notice. Very similarly, this production is insane. It's the way that it starts off really soft and simple, much like Runner, and just keeps building. There's one part where there's like violins that goes da-da-da-da-da.
Oh, so good.
So good. And then he goes, something is about to break. The fault line has been fractured, and you can hear splits in like harmonies and things. Like everything is reflected, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger, as Kat said, until it's so loud and it's like uncomfortably loud, and it goes on about a measure longer than you want it to, or and like think it will.
Blame it on manipulation. We're human after all. Like, this idea of like manipulating someone until they blow up and then being like, oh, that's just human things.
And it just keeps going, and then all of a sudden it just cuts out. It's amazing.
Also, the say a prayer, light a digital candle, and then scroll away.
Yeah.
Oh, the way that he just captured like how fake social media sympathy can be, like thoughts and prayers and like, oh, look at this like performative activism I'm sharing on my story, and I don't actually do anything about this in real life.
Yeah, because you're sitting there scrolling on your phone looking at all these things and you're like, oh, that's so horrible, and then you keep scrolling and you have to keep moving on.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and then you start to question like every show of like sympathy and empathy that you see, because you're like, does this person actually care about this cause, or are they just speaking out because if they don't, they're gonna get shit for it?
The line, don't you want to save the planet, like, it's this that manipulation, it's this guilt that like you're scrolling and you're seeing these messages and they're like, well, don't you want to do something about it? And you're not. You like lazy piece of shit. Like, it's
this one change will help you save the planet. Like the clickbait bullshit that's just everywhere.
Also, there's a Twitter thread a while ago. There was a headline, I guess, that was like, Joe Keery litters, and he, I guess, like a piece of paper fell out of his pocket and someone took a picture and was like, Joe Keery litters. And the Twitter thread, everyone was like, don't you want to save the planet?
That's so real.
I think about it every time I hear that line.
Blame it on manipulation. We're human after all. Bam. Okay. I'm so normal about stuff.
So this whole big part just like goes for so long and builds up and then cuts out, and then it's very quiet and he goes, it's just you and me now. And I'm not sure if he's talking about like you and me as if him and the phone, or him and this person that we introduce, or like that we've kind of been alluding to, that he meets. I'm not sure.
I don't know. What do you think? And now.
End of beginning. This is the one that most of you probably know the most.
And this song being in the middle of the album is just so genius.
Yeah.
Because it's a shift from his old mindset of this like doom scrolling, fatalistic, change is bad view to like growing up and changing and realizing that it's not always bad and that it's more nuanced than that. And like also in this song, it's the first time that he's being honest about the way that he feels and not putting it through the filter of what he thinks other people want him to feel.
It's vastly different to the previous songs.
It's so good. I feel like this point in the album, when I was listening through the whole thing the first time, like this is the part where I was just like, oh yeah, I love this album. This is amazing.
Yeah. I know. This one, it hits so hard. My first note is, oh boy. I think like the overall interpretation of this song, because I would love to go through every single line of it, but overall interpretation is, so the usual phrase is the beginning of the end, and this is the end of beginning, because he's talking about going back to I don't know if it's his hometown. I don't know if Chicago's
where he went to college.
Okay.
Which I feel like I got into that a little bit. It's very fitting.
Yeah. It goes back to this person that he was, another version of me that he was when he lived in Chicago. When theoretically his life blew up, his life changed forever to a point where like that is what marked the end of beginning, because things are going to go up and up and up. And then after that, it's only going to go down.
Yeah. But then also that idea of like, he feels like this is the last time that he'll get a fresh start. It's interesting. And
even from a, like, I wasn't on a hit TV show and didn't like blow up in that way, but but when I go back to certain places, I have the same feeling.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I was a different person when I was here, and life carried on and took me to a completely different place, and I will never return to where I was.
Yes.
Who I was.
I feel like I'm looking for my note about this. But like, when you go back, I have it for when you take the man out of the city, not the city out the man, like the realization that your past versions of yourself are still who you are. It's not like, okay, this is who I was in college and now I'm totally different. It's like, even if your life looks totally different, there's still pieces and parts of you that are the same as they were. Like, nobody ever actually does a full 180. It was like, people never change.
Yeah.
But I have to try. But like, you can change. It's just the parts of you from before you changed are still going to be a part of you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's such a beautiful, beautiful freaking song. It's just so beautiful.
And also, like, I think that, like, we're going back to my college town for my birthday this weekend. And just like, when you go back to a place that was so instrumental in growing up, and you're like just grappling with the ways that you've changed and like reflecting on who you were and who you are now, it's just it's an interesting time.
It's so interesting. And
enter Caroline.
Trust
me, you'll be fine. So Caroline, as I mentioned earlier, is Joe's older sister. And like the first half of the album, he's talking about how disconnected and out of touch he is from everyone else. But here is someone who has known him his entire life, literally, and is saying that like things will be okay. And like this voice that's not just the, everybody needs a fool. Instead, it's just like, trust me, you'll be fine. Like somebody that actually knows him, and like a true voice of a person that cares about him.
Yeah. I also hesitate to bring up the show Stranger Things too much, because I don't want to focus on that. But 24, he goes, remember 24, and that's about the age that his life was when he did become more of a household name.
Yeah. I waved goodbye to the end of beginning.
It's so sad. I think the only problem I have with this song is I want it to be longer.
True.
I want more of it.
True.
It's so good. And his voice at the end, it goes up an octave and he goes, oh, it's so good.
It's so good. Like, I love the idea of thinking of graduating from college as the end of beginning, because in college, you're kind of like more idealistic. Like generally in your early 20s, you're very idealistic a lot of times. I don't know everybody in the world, but I know I was very idealistic when I was in college. And then you graduate and like the world exists the way that it is. Like it'd be like that.
24 was also a huge year for me, because like I graduated in 2020 when I was 23, and then 24 was really when I got my first full-time job in my first apartment. It was a huge transitory period for me, so that's why this song is extra special. And the production in the chorus, I mean, you guys have all heard it on TikTok. There's a reason why
it blew up on TikTok. It's because it's fucking amazing.
It's so good, and it's just, I just love this song. Yeah, we can move on.
I want your video. This is the antithesis of gloom.
Yep.
He's learned that he likes going out if it's with people that he likes and they're doing things that he enjoys, and he's allowed to sit in the corner if he feels like it.
Yeah. But also, he says, I want your video. He still wants to put up some distance between these people because he's still got trust issues. Like, he doesn't want their real self. He wants their video. He wants their, yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know. I
honestly have no idea what the I want your video means. I'm going to be so real. I didn't write it down because I just don't know.
Okay.
I like the vibes.
It's such a banger. It's a banger and a bop. When I was going through this album last night, making these notes, I always saw this transition, meeting this person. I want your video into like climax and change. I used to always view it as like this really positive thing. And looking through the lyrics, I'm like, it's actually still quite sad. Like he still has trust issues. He has the same issues that he had in Half-Life. It's just that
for sure.
Now he's surrounded by better people.
But it's starting the transition of like breaking down his walls and breaking down the like issues. And like he's talking about having friends and like being okay with holding your bag till the end of the night.
Yeah.
Which in the underground music scene, a lot of times like the stereotype was that the guys would go to watch the bands and like go and dance and mosh and stuff, and then the girlfriends would be in the corner holding everybody's bags and everybody's stuff. So he's also like doing a little gender role swap by saying like, I got your bag till the end of the night, like I'll be here for the whole night, I'm just gonna be over in the corner because I am overstimulated. And instead of saying fuck your mother, he's like, I'm just gonna go chill, not here.
Yeah.
Growth.
It is growth. This song it's so fun.
Also, I love the no heavy ego games, just inner light. I let my ego get the best of me. And now no heavy ego games. And like that's part of what he likes, is that this person is she's just existing. Like she doesn't have the heavy ego games. She's not trying to be something that she's not. She's just vibing.
Yeah, there's at the end there's a distorted voice that calls in the background. And I was trying to find those lyrics. It's, I'm your moon, you're my star. We can't be, here we are.
Here we are.
And like, we can't be, here we are is also like...
The return of the dichotomy.
People never change, but I have to try. Like,
yes. Like, and it's also that kind of like thing of you never expect to find somebody and then...
It's happening.
It's happening. And you're like, we can't do this, but we're doing it. We're in it. Oh, I also got you got your friends on your left and your right. And like, in Gloom... Like he's like, our friendship couldn't handle much more, but instead he's like, he's got at least 2 friends, just like me, for real.
Wow, 2. Anyway,
climax. It's the climax.
It's the climax.
The album's tone has been like shifting a lot, but this is kind of the moment that he realizes that despite how afraid he's been of changing, he has changed without realizing it. Oh,
this song is like a very like reflectively internal reflection interlude.
I think like this song, I mean the first line is like, I woke up from a dream I had or whatever. The first line is him waking up from a dream and like these are his thoughts. So I feel like this whole thing is like the self-reflection after you wake up from a dream and you're just like, I have sudden clarity about life.
Yeah, but also he's not really okay in this song at all. He's dissociating hard.
And he's kind of saying nonsense. Like,
yeah.
It felt my arms were made of acolyte. Acolyte is not a material.
Right.
Acolyte is a person, like a religious acolyte is what it's usually used as, like a religious devotee that isn't actually part of a clergy or anything. I Googled it.
Why did I think it was from Star Wars?
It's because Carbonite is from Star Wars, and also Acolyte is a Star Wars show coming out this June.
Oh, okay.
So I had Listenberg, slay. But it felt my arms were made of acolyte. So an acolyte is a religious devotee that helps the actual like clergyman or religious like priest, whatever. Priestess is what I was trying to say.
You'll be the priest.
They help.
I'll be the priestess. So sorry.
So follow us on.
Anyway, continue.
So they help with performing a religious service or process or whatever, but they aren't actually like ordained or whatever. So I was like, he feels like his arms are helping with a worthy cause, but maybe.
But they're not ordained.
But they're not actually godlike, but they're trying to be.
Yeah. That's interesting. I didn't do that much research into it. I was just like, I don't know those words.
My legs frozen in carbonite. So carbonite is the fake material from Star Wars that Han Solo gets frozen into.
Oh.
When he turns into the thing and he's like,
oh, right.
I love you. I know.
Which, legs are used to run.
And now he can't run because he's stuck in carbonite. But the other thing with carbonite is that when you get taken out of it, you're totally fine.
Right. So it's
like he's frozen in place, but it's in a forced reflection type of way instead of a gone forever type of way.
Right, which is a stark contrast to Runner, where he's literally like just like keeps moving forward, and now he's literally stuck. He's in bed.
If I keep moving forward, then I can't think about the things that are wrong.
Yeah.
This is like the opposite, where he's just like, I am here. I am in helping a religious service of my dreams, blah, blah, blah.
And the dissociation is heavy in this one, with another version, an older me I met before, which is like another version of me in Chicago. We just talked about an end of beginning.
Mm-hmm. It terrifies me that there is no plan.
Yep.
That's life, baby. That's what I literally wrote up.
Oh,
baby. Like,
amazing.
That's a pre-made joke right there.
Yeah.
Not out the microwave.
Like a hot pocket. We're adults. So
you tell it's 8 p.m. when we're recording this.
When I try, it falls right through my hands, which calls back to Runner with Why Try. I mean,
it's so good.
It's so good. This song is one that had to grow on me. It's best.
It's weird.
It's weird. It's best listened to in the context of the album.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever just gone and been like, man, I want to listen to Climax right now. But like when it comes on, I'm like, man, I'm enjoying listening to Climax, you know?
Right. Yeah, no, for sure. Why do you think it's called Climax?
I think because it's like the moment of like him realizing that he's changed. Like it's the climax of this story about him changing and growing up. This is the moment when he's real, because the next song is Change, where he's just like, one of the lyrics in that is like, I thought that change was bad, but you have changed my mind. Like this is the moment where he is realizing like that the change is happening, and then change is when he's accepted it. But this is like the moment where he has this decision to make, where it's either he can accept the change and go with it, or he can go back to the person that he was and keep being miserable and scrolling on and having these fake connections with other people.
Yeah, it's just interesting because like sonically, when you're listening to it, when you think about a climax, that's like the most exciting part of the story. And this song is very level and low. His voice is distorted through all the verses, which like as he's reflecting in his head, as I keep talking about by using that distortion. And it doesn't have like this huge climactic moment. It just, it ends on, it terrifies me. Like
the future breaking right on top of me. The waves are washing hope right out of me. Like, and I think this goes with like this idea of like the future keeps coming no matter what. And like, you're the rock that the water's crashing against, and rocks erode with time. Like people never change, but I have to try. But he's like, but the future does change us. Like it's this kind of moment of realization and change.
Yeah. This song is so ominous.
I know you. I swear I've seen your face before. Must be true. Saw it through an open door. I don't know why I included the door line in this analysis. I think I just liked it. But I think this is going back to the person that he's met. The like meeting someone, it feels right, it clicks. And like this song also starting with him waking up from a dream. I think of it how there's that thing, I don't know if this is true or if it's just was a thing on the internet that people said, but like the idea that you can never dream a face that you haven't seen before, and that everybody that you see in your dreams you've seen at least in passing. Sorry for the two-tiered yawn there.
Two-tiered yawn. I think this whole song, I think he's literally talking to himself. I think it's all him. And the different versions of him he's talking to. And like, I swear I've seen your face before. An older me I've met before. All of it is him and the different versions of him and reflecting on that. And when he says like, I see your face through an open door. Yeah. When one door closes, another opens. He took these opportunities and his life has gone a certain way. And now he's seeing all these different versions of himself.
Wow. I love that.
It's deep.
Unless you're quiet, you will never see. I feel like that also kind of ties into the idea of this song as like a moment of self-reflection and like quiet when you wake up in the middle of the night and you're just like, well, it's just my thoughts.
Yeah, because this whole time in like, again, with Runner, he's going, he's not stopping. I belong on the road in gloom. And then here he's stopped still.
Yeah, on and on. He's literally scrolling on. End of beginning, he's looking back, and even what song did we just talk about? I Want Your Video. He's out at a party again. This is like his first moment of like stopping and being like, oh shit, like
stop. get some help.
Unless you're stop, seek help. Stop, drop, and roll. Are we ready for change?
Oh, I'm so ready. Change. Oh, this one right here. This one
he accepted
right
the change.
here. This is my
change.
shit. This song, this is production. Do you love how I took a breath between song and apostrophe S? This song is production. Anyway.
Incredible.
This song's production is insane. It is insane.
Watching this unfold, like, I am floating right above it.
More dissociation, folks.
But, like, now he has the language for the dissociation.
Yeah.
I feel like that's another thing of, like, the reflecting and getting to know himself. He's starting to realize his behaviors and, like, notice them, which is very therapy coded.
It is therapy coded. Can confirm.
Can confirm. That's one of the therapy things you do is you go to therapy and they help you see the things that you do that are why you need therapy.
And put words to them.
Exactly.
Back to the production real quick.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's my first note. The coolest thing about this song is that every part of it exists throughout every part of it. It's just that certain parts are louder at certain points. Oh shit. Sorry. I got really excited talking about music. So what else is new? But like, if you listen during the beginning of the song, you can hear the which he sings later.
Wait, that's wild.
Yeah, like every single part of the song exists at like throughout the entire song. If you listen for it, it's there the whole time.
That's amazing.
It's so cool. It's so cool. This song's hot. I can't explain it. This song is sexy.
Jake is on his phone. I must admit that I don't love it.
That is hilarious.
I think it's so funny. Like, this music sucks to me. I'm ready to go, and Jake's on his phone. And I'll admit I don't love it. He's just like, I hate this, but I'm gonna be so nice about it. Just
yeah,
like me, for real.
It's so funny how he's like, I'll admit, don't love it,
but also I think it's kind of like it's like the personalization of stuff, and like it's interesting that he's having this like depersonalization dissociation moment, and then immediately it's just like, Jake's on his phone. I don't love it. Like, there's Jake. That's a guy. I feel like that's also kind of a technique of like anchoring yourself back into the moment of like things you can see, things you can hear. Like the whole.
Well, what's interesting is the whole first half of this album, he's talking about technology and social media and how toxic it is and being on his phone and using that as a way to escape. And here he's saying, Jake is on his phone. I don't love it, but who am I to judge? Like, I'm doing the same thing. I'm just no longer doing it that way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, my next one's for Harder Not to Tell You, Man, what's really going on.
Ain't that the truth?
But yeah, for that line, like the idea that he's been hiding like his negative emotions in the first half of the album, and then even end of beginning, like he acknowledges that he has them, but he saves them for the middle of the night. And then climax, we saw those negative emotions in the middle of the night.
Yep.
But here it's like harder not to tell you, man, what's really going on. So he went from hiding it entirely, only letting it out alone in the middle of the night, to being compelled to let it all out with his bro, is what I wrote.
Is that how guys talk?
I don't know. Bro, I just gotta let it all out, bro.
It's hard enough to tell you, man, what's really going on. I love the inclusion of man. It feels very natural.
Exactly. Like this song, the lyrics are very conversational. Like, I'll admit that I don't love it.
Yeah, they're very conversational. And then this next part happens where this you that we've been talking about since Fool, basically, pulls him back into the room and grounds him and whispers in his ear, it's easy to see it all with you. And there's a shift in the song.
Yeah.
And so I don't know why I said she. It could be anybody.
He says she at some point.
Does she? Does he? Pronouns are hard. I don't know them. I never met them. So anyway, so this person says it's easy to see it all with you. They see what he's going through when no one else does, and it's easy for them to do that. Like, sees right through him.
And then my next note is for the something's happening to me.
Me too.
Something's happening to me. A passing glance I see in your eyes, the man that I could be. And like he has that connection, and like he's looking in her eyes, and he sees that he's capable of change, and that change could make him into somebody that's like worthy of this person that he loves.
Yeah. I just love that this realization is hitting him like a bus. Like he's been spending so long dissociating. We just came from climax and this person whispers in his ear and just snaps him into this new part where he's just like, oh, something's happening to me.
And it's like he can see what he can become instead of what he should be.
Right.
And how he should be performing. He's just, I can see who I could be instead of who I should be.
Yeah. I also love how he mentions different things in the song that he's now changing his reaction to. So like when the jacket doesn't fit right, when there's a conflict, when it isn't perfect, all these things.
And he's like acknowledging, he's like, actually change can be good. And he cited his sources and I love that for him.
He did. He said, I got receipts.
He said, because in Gloom he says, your insults don't affect me with my favorite coat on.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I changed when the jacket doesn't fit right. It's easier to refuse to change year after year. Sure is, but it's also miserable.
Damn straight. Also, the second verse is him dissociating once again, comparing it to being on a plane. It could also be him literally on a plane. But I don't think it is. I think he's talking about dissociating again.
Yeah, and feeling like you're up on a plane. You're rising above it all.
Yeah. Also, this line, knocking on the door, entire years I locked away.
Just like me, for real.
Literally? Me too. Like when trauma comes back.
When you're like, I didn't know I was repressing that.
But in Climax, we just talked about the door.
Yeah.
And like another, like there was him through the open door and now all these memories are coming back to him. Like another version of him, this old version of him from Chicago, like all of it's coming back.
Yeah, he went back, he saw the place, he met the person that made him feel like himself again, and he's realizing all of the things that he's been like. Spear has something to say. She said, stream Decide by Joe.
She did.
He went back and like saw himself again and is now connected with this old version of himself, and he's kind of like refinding himself where he had bottled that up as a coping mechanism because he had this super like depressing fatalistic view of how the world worked.
Mm-hmm.
And now he believes in the world again, and he's unlocking the experiences and things that he put in a little box in his mind and threw away the key because he couldn't think about those times of genuine emotion and joy, etc., when he was trying to repress all emotions to just get through life.
Yeah. So he's feeling everything again. Kind of like how in Gloom he was feeling everything derogatory. Like he's feeling everything affectionate. But it's just... So here's where I kind of put a sad spin on this, because when you first listen to the song, it's very catchy. It's very happy sounding. But like the second time he sings the chorus, he gets interrupted being like, this line we keep repeating, I thought that change was bad. You have changed my mind and put my, is it my heart at ease or my mind
Put my
at ease?
heart at ease. I don't know what will be.
And he's accepted that, right? But like, and we can talk more about this when we get to the next song, but should you change for your partner? Like when this new person comes into your life that you have, that you fall for, that you have these really strong feelings for, everything can feel so great and everything can feel so peaceful, but that is a fragile state of being.
I don't see it as him changing for his partner. I see it as him finding somebody and seeing the way that they see the world and realizing that you want to be more like them. And like they inspire the change, but they aren't the only catalyst. Because it's like when you're miserable and then you see something and you go, I can change what I'm doing and I can do this. Like that is an option that I didn't realize I had.
Yeah.
Like you see somebody with like, there's a person behind those eyes.
Mm-hmm.
You realize that you can live with genuine emotion and still be happy. Like you see someone living the life that you thought didn't exist.
Yeah, absolutely. And when I listen to this song out of context, I definitely take it just in a very positive way.
I also think it's interesting, like the last song, it terrifies me that there is no plan. And then this one, you have changed my mind and put my heart at ease. I don't know what will be, but like his heart's at ease, even knowing that like things are going to keep changing. He has like the sense of peace with it.
Yes.
So I feel like even in context, I mean, I think the next song is kind of like a step back, but that's how healing is. Like it's a 2 steps forward, 1 step back.
Right. Well, so spoiler alert, the next song is a 40-second thing of just him saying, is that all it takes? And it's this little distorted, hold on. Did you have any other change notes?
No.
So For Is That All It Takes? It's a 40-second little instrumental where there's a little distorted voice. Again, that distortion, his like inner voice, these negative thoughts that keep plaguing him and keep messing shit up, basically, is saying, is that all it takes? Is it just this one person that can really change everything for me? Or like these little things can change so much? Is that a good thing?
Yeah, like is it a one and done realization? Like you realize like, oh, change can be good. Mm-hmm. Like you decide change can be good and now everything's good, but like that's not really how, like having a mindset shift doesn't mean that you're going to immediately get rid of all of your like negative behaviors and all of the thought patterns that you used to fall into. Right. It's just that now you have a way to break that cycle. But like the cycle doesn't necessarily end immediately. Like it takes a lot of effort to climb out of the track and the dirt that you've worn with the same thought cycles over and over again.
Right. Like to compare it to me and thinking about me, like I have really bad anxiety and I know how to manage it a lot better. I've got coping skills for it, but I still have anxiety. Yeah. Those problems are still there. It goes from this like explosion, like change feels like the climax to me. So it's interesting that it comes right after climax.
Yeah.
But then into Is That All It Takes, where it's all of a sudden he's just like, oh wait, I'm still scared. I still have fear.
And that's what Go For It is, like the insecure. Oh, and Go For It.
Oh, the way that it slides into Go For It also incredible. So good.
So good. Like this whole song is just about that like insecurity of like, okay, so then here's how I think things are going to end. Like miscommunication happens and then you are resentful of each other and then you don't talk and then you break up. And he's like, I could see this happening. And he's just like got this like fucked up little daydream going, which is so realistic. Like
it is. Also, the opening sounds a lot like Ready For It.
Easter egg.
Easter egg. I thought of it when I was listening through the album yesterday.
Love that. A love to last 1,000 years. It sinks. It might change.
Yep. Again with the change.
Yeah, and like
uncertainty
and like this relationship has brought him a lot of positive change, but he's acknowledging the dichotomy of like for every positive change there's still the opportunity for there to be negative change in the future.
Yeah, so for me it started off as this like really positive relationship and now the honeymoon phase is kind of over. He says communication breaks, then trust starts to fray.
I just thought of a really fun Taylor Swift connection.
Okay.
It's very The Archer coded.
It is, yeah. A lot
like
of this
when you get in a healthy relationship and then you're in those thought cycles and then you're like, I hear Go For It. It's a harder thing to do than to say. Like saying now I think that change is good and change is all right and change happens and it's inevitable in a good way. Like having the mindset shift doesn't mean that immediately your old mindset is like dead.
Yeah. And then we've got the instrumental at the end, which is like this.
It's a harder thing to do than to say, so don't say a thing.
No, literally.
Bad.
Yeah, literally.
This phrase is water bottle.
We get another spiral. Like, things are bad again. They're getting bad, guys. And the worst
thing is that nothing bad has actually happened yet.
It's just his mind. It's just his mind. And so like, real. Which so real. But this instrumental, it's really dark. It has the same notes just repeating. It never quite gets higher. It never quite has that resolution. It's just the same like deep, dark thoughts plaguing him. Mm-hmm. Woof. Figure you out. I'm beginning to understand.
The you is himself.
Yeah. The you is himself. Anyway, next song. I'm just kidding.
All right.
Yeah. I'm beginning to understand there's no mystery to this man. Like,
he's like, I am a basic bitch and I'm proud.
Me too. Okay, but like,
I'm basic and I'm proud.
Before in Change, when this person comes up and says, it's easy to see it all with you. And he's like, wow, that's so crazy. No one actually knows how I am. And then in this one, he's like, I haven't been slick this whole time.
Oh, wait, you're telling me I'm not deep?
Which, like, we've all been there. I'm always just like, no one understands me. It turns out everyone is picking up what I'm putting down.
It's like when you post something, it's like, oh, I've never had an original experience.
Yeah. I wrote there wasn't actually an end of beginnings. Everything he learns or realizes, he then finds a contradiction. It's like everything that he's learning he has to relearn, as I mentioned before.
Yeah. It's the simplest things that I need. Just my friend and a place to sleep.
I wrote another frowny face.
I wrote mood.
That too. He downgraded to one friend. He had two. He had one on his right and his left.
Well, he's saying I only need one.
I
like
know,
it's nice to have more, but you know, in this age of excess, less might be best for me.
Oh gosh, amazing!
Which I wrote down in a serious way, but then it became funny. Is the memory really mine? Is the story I told just fake? So real. When you have like those go-to stories that you tell when you're like in a group of people or at a party or something, and then like you are telling it, and then after you tell it, you're just like, how many of the fucking details have I changed? Like, I don't even know what the truth is anymore because I've been telling the story the same way for so long that now I can't remember. Like, and you're like, I know that I changed something about the story to make it more interesting, and I don't even know what it is anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. And also the fact that memories are so fallible and stories just, it's like every time you remember something it's a little bit different. Every time you copy a picture, 1 pixel at least changes every single time. Like things keep evolving. When he says unmistakably, that's my voice, again, like he's dissociating. I've been trying to figure out, he keeps trying to figure himself out, figure life out. He can't. Like this, he's spiraling again. He's going down.
Just like me, for real.
just like me. We had to do a little camera change because our camera died, so the quality's a little bit different now. Just, you know.
It's worse. It's on my 9-year-old MacBook.
It's fine.
I got this for high school graduation. I'm turning 27 in 2 days.
So we just, if the money just wasn't there and the power you had was gone and these people were just like you, tell me then would you lend a hand? And he screams it.
The two different ways that I kind of interpret this is, on the one hand, like if you had nothing, would you also be generous to people who have nothing? Like, would you try to help your community and help your fellow people? Or if you had nothing, would you feel any sympathy for people like you who have power and money and wealth?
And also in this case, he's talking to himself, yes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's kind of like, are you a good person or do you just have money?
Yeah. Yeah. Also, money grows and dies.
Exactly.
From Runner.
Something's in my mind and I'm focused on you.
Yeah.
Like, and that anchoring thing of like him trying to come back to who he is, and like something's in his mind and he's just focused on this.
Yeah. And also it's when you, he's losing himself in someone else or another version of him. Like you try to distract yourself. He's trying to distract himself again with what he could be or who he was or what he really is, because he's just so confused. He's in such a weird place.
Yeah. I'm just like really not looking at the camera aggressively.
I am. Direct eye contact with myself. So then we move on to Slither.
It is the future.
Oh, I thought you said ick.
It. Oh no, it. IT. Like the Stephen King book, but not that.
Oh. This song is so real. This song is so real.
It just be doing what it be doing.
It's mostly the same words over and over again of him just trying. Like,
and we all want to be someone at the end of the day.
That's one of my favorite lyrics from the album.
It's so good because like that is the heart of the album. Is just like we all want to be someone. I want to be someone. You want to be someone. Trying to find who you are as a someone in society. Exactly.
And you want to also be a capital S someone. You want to have power. You want to have money. And at the same time, that's complicated. And also just no matter where you are, you're always going to want something different or think that something's wrong. I just love how he's like, I'm pushing to it. I'm getting whatever the lyrics are. And then he goes, I think I got it. It makes a nice impression and it slithers away, which is the whole theme of this album, this whole journey he goes on where every time he thinks he figured it out, he doesn't.
Yeah, because you can never really know every version of yourself all the time.
Yeah.
Because you can, it takes like, you can only know who you are in reflection. Like you can know who you used to be, but it's a lot harder to have the level of self-actualization to fully understand who you are as a person. I don't think there's very many people in the world who can do that.
It's like that quote from Marmalade, iconic movie, because life can only be understood backwards. We gotta live it forwards.
Please watch Marmalade.
Do it. Please watch. It's so good.
It's so good.
So we plugged Joe and Joe blew up, right? So now we're gonna plug this movie Marmalade,
which Joe Curie is in.
He is in, and it's so good.
So good.
Oh my God, we love this movie.
And that's it for Decide.
There isn't actually a resolution. It just cycles back to the same. He just goes back into Runner. When you listen to it on repeat, it just goes over and over again. It's just this cycle.
And it's so, yeah. And I think that's just how life is like the ebb and flow of, even if you change for the better, you find someone you want to settle down with, whatever, life keeps life, and eventually like you still face those setbacks and stuff, and you still, it's, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Like,
yep.
Progress is not linear.
I also wrote down a quote from one of my other top listened to songs last year and this year by Annie DeRusso. It's called Emerson. And at the last line she sings is, I guess I've only ever been who I was. It's a great song. Go check that song out too. This album rules.
This album rules. Stream Decide. I'm so excited. When we get our shirts, I also ordered the vinyl for this, which I am so excited for.
I have the most cursed note of all time that made me laugh just now. The most cursed joke of all time. I can't wait for his new album to come out, Joe 3 Electric Boogaloo.
Joe 3 Tokyo Drift.
2 Joe, 2 Furious.
2 DJ 2O.
Oh gosh. Anyway, God, thank you for gracing us with this album, for getting me through grad school.
And for listening to all of our terrible
yes.
jokes. DJ, okay, yes.
Because I know you're listening. And if Joe Curie himself isn't listening, I forgive you this time. But
also if you are, please don't perceive us too much.
No, don't perceive us. We adore your work. Why are we speaking directly? And let's just speak to whoever's listening right now. Like, we obviously adore this album.
If you're listening, you're a little bit Joe Curie too.
We are all Joe Curie on the inside.
But we all want to be Joe Curie. No, that is not the message of the album.
No, that's not the message of the album. We respectfully love this album. I am so glad that we got to talk about it for Kat's birthday. Happy birthday, Kat. Everyone wish Kat a happy birthday. It's on the 23rd. So when you're listening to this, sorry.
It's already over.
But please go wish her a happy birthday.
Go wish me a late birthday. Late happy birthday? Belated birthday.
Yeah. We got someone who wished it early.
True.
So
thank you, early birthday wisher.
Yeah. This has been so much fun.
I love attention, so just say happy birthday and I'll just take it.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
I'm 27 years old. Already a burden on my parents.
Got no money and no prospects. Oh, Sylvia's gonna be so happy that we quoted that.
I've been thinking about that scene every single day for the last week.
Okay, so because Sylvia also loves Decide, friend of the podcast, Sylvia.
That you all listened to last week.
Unless you're Joe Curie, you might not have listened to the episode last week.
But Joe Curie, if you're listening, last week's episode was pretty great. It was about mental illness. So
just saying.
You relate?
Sylvia's the one who told me that in Italian, Chicago means I shit on it. So there you go.
So it's all connected.
It's all connected, folks. So yeah.
And at the end of the day,
love and hate decide.
I just want to be someone at the end of the day.
Exactly.
I'm going to go with my hint song is Still Into You by Paramore.
Mine is Confident by Demi Lovato.
So see you next week.
You
follow us on Instagram at SwiftFloorPod.
Or on TikTok at SwiftFloorPod. Thank you so much.
And give us a rating. Give us a review for my birthday. Share it with a friend.
Yeah. Thank you for being here, even though it wasn't our typical episode. But we love Joe. We love this album. And this has been super fun.
All right. Crispy high five.
Crispy high five.
Oh, that was crispy.
Just for you, Joe.
I feel like those Red Robin commercials where they'd be like Red Robin, yum, and it'd be like a serial killer getting somebody because they said the yum. That's us with the like, hard not to tell you, man, what's really going on. Like that's that little did-it. That is our get caught by a serial killer for the bit.
In the couch trying not to get caught, and I just can't help myself.
Because you're not going to do the did-it. It's fucking catchy as hell.
You have to do it. You have to do it.